introduction. I haven't had that in quite some time.
Well, welcome to OSP, Leonard, one source provider.
Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely, our pleasure. Thank you for making the time to come on. I know that you have some obligations, some media things today, so I appreciate you making some time for us. But Leonard, I wanted to give you a little bit of an overview of what OSP is, one source provider. We're a direct sales company, and we represent several Fortune 100 companies. But more importantly, we are in the business of building opportunity for young entrepreneurs like you have here on the call. We provide them everything from sales training, management training, marketing training, to public speaking, social media training, so that they can ultimately become their own boss, just like Floyd has become and has pioneered that way. Several of our directors most of them are making six figures a year, and really from entry level to having your own office is a very short time span, and we've laid all that out. So on the call today, Leonard, you have several different levels, from entry-level guys and girls up until young men and women that are about to open their office, to directors that are making six figures a year. But what they all share is that winner's mindset. And every week when we have somebody on, our goal is to bring somebody that can share that same winning mindset, so that they can see what that takes and how they can build to it. So that's the overview. I would like to bring on our first question from Jovan Kelly, who just won our trivia. Jovan, if you could please ask Leonard a question. The floor is yours, sir.
Hey, how you doing today, Mr. Leonard? My name is Jovan from Pro Connections out of the Cleveland office. I'm sure I can speak for all of OSP. We are truly excited, and we truly appreciate your time. But for my question, I have, just at what point was it that you realized your purpose or like your gift, and like what actions did you take to take the next step?
Well, that's a great question. I used to be a former amateur boxer, when I was a youngster. And coming up through the amateurs, I was having a lot of hand problems at the most inopportune time. And because my goal always, when I was a youngster, I actually thought that I was going to be Sugar Ray Leonard. Because growing up in the D.C. area, he was like a role model, an idol. He was everything to the DMV area. And as I was coming up through the amateur ranks, because I was having so many hand problems, my mom had told me, she said, well, baby, she said, maybe being a boxer, that's not God's plan for you. And I was like, wow. And, I had to really think about that hard, because every time that it would come up for one of the major tournaments, whether the Olympic trials or the World Championships or whatever, I would get injured again right before it would happen. And so then when she said that, it made me think really hard. And I said, you know what? You're right, Mom. She said, how about going into business? And I was like, business? What kind of business? And I thought long and hard, and I was like, well, I have an amateur pedigree. I'm educated, so why not the business of boxing? And that's how it all started. It was just something that my mom had, she had really thought long and hard about. And the whole moral of what I'm saying is that just because you fail in one thing and you get knocked down, that doesn't stop you from moving forward, switching gears, resetting, and figuring out what your plan is potentially that you want to go in life, and then just giving all your efforts to it and just execute.
Excellent. And Leonard, throughout your career, whether it was in the ring, outside of the ring, you faced several challenges. I mean, it hasn't been an easy road. Everybody looks at success and they look at the money and they look at the flamboyant and they look at the publicity and they think, oh, that just comes part of it. But you've actually endured a lot of setbacks, a lot of trials, a lot of tribulations along the way.
Yeah, that comes with being successful. You get knocked down, you got to get back up. You get knocked down, you got to get back up. And the true definition of when someone has a mindset, and as we're talking about a winner's mindset, I call it the championship mindset. With wanting to be the best and let nothing stop you from when you go through things, trials and tribulations, in your life, in your career, get back up. Get back up and try it all over again. And keep on trying until you get to where you're trying to get to.
Outstanding. Joe Spital, the floor is yours, sir.
Hello, Leonard. My name is Joe Spital, obviously out of the Integrity Marketing Office in Akron, Ohio. The question that I have is, as an organization, a big part of our development, self-development, and constantly striving for greatness. And the position that you're in, obviously, you've seen a lot of success, and you've been very successful with what you do. So my question for you is, what steps did you take throughout your career to actually cultivate your own personal success and be able to see that in others and act on that?
Well, I continue to stay learning. You know, that no matter how successful in life you become, you're never too old to learn. You know, I surround myself with positive people. You know, I have a few mentors that I've kept close to me for many, many years, and I continue to strive to continue to learn, continue to try to help, especially this younger generation, because, you know, at times, social media has kind of played a major role with a lot of the younger generation just kind of being lost. So, you know, I take great pride into continuing to try to help this younger generation to educate them on the pitfalls of success. You know, because a lot of times you're going to have your ups and you're going to have your downs, but you just got to stay consistent. And that's what I found to be the key to success.
Consistency, knocking on that door, no matter what, you go after what you want. Andreas.
Well, thank you. Hey, Leonard, this is Andreas. I'm one of the office directors out of Pittsburgh. You know, my question for you, sir, is how did you surround yourself with people to help you get to your goals and dreams from putting on some of the biggest fights in the world? So the first question is, how did you surround yourself with great people? And what was the steps that you had to take to execute, putting on some of these big shows in the world? Thank you.
Surrounding yourself with great people is a key to everything, because, again, you want to surround yourself with like-minded people who have that same championship mindset. Because what happens is that when you have others around you who have different goals and you're gonna clash. So I think when you surround yourself with a positive team, you're all moving to the same accord, one direction, and it's all about having the same goal in mind. And what was the second part of your question?
How did you execute putting on these big shows across the world, and what were some of the steps that you had to take?
That's a great question. Work ethic. In order to be successful at this level, it requires a lot of work, because in order to put on these major events, it's a team effort. It's not. I didn't do it by myself. There's no I in team, and you have to have a great team. Again, going back to having the same vision, having the same goal, and there are gonna be many challenges when it comes to these big events, but you just got to stay at it. Working 20-hour days for 15 years straight, 7 days a week. That it's all about that grind. It's all about that grind. Working while the competition is sleeping.
Great answer. Doc is back. He had his mic muted. Okay,
yes.
Doc.
Sorry about that. So, Mr. Leonard, thank you very much for taking our calls. My name is John McKee. I'm from the Excelsius LLC office in Toledo, Ohio. And my question for you, a big part of our business is promotions and promoting people and bringing the right people and more people into our business. So it's a two-part question. What goes into determining which fights to promote or which fighters to promote? And what things have you found in your experiences to increase the number of, whether it be pay-per-view sales or ticket sales, to make fights higher revenues? What unique things have you found that does that?
Well, from my personal perspective, we'll use Floyd as a good example. our goal early on was we wanted to be entrepreneurs. We came into the game, and once we came in there, we started out. Anytime you want to do anything in life, you're not going to start out at the top. So we started out at the bottom, and we developed a plan, and the ultimate goal was becoming our own bosses. And what we had to do, at this particular time, he was signed to Top Rank, and with Bob Arum being the promoter, and him and Don King were the two biggest promoters in the sport. I sat back and I watched and I listened and I learned. And what I learned was all the right things to do and all the wrong things not to do. And I took those things and added them to a lot of things that we were thinking about. And then we put those ideas together, used our ideas, and we launched our own company, which is obviously Mayweather Promotions. But the whole mindset, from the very beginning was becoming our own bosses. In that way, being able to control our own destiny.
Outstanding. And Leonard, this business is just like that, is becoming your own boss, taking it all. Look at how many people now live and work in corporate America that don't have control of what they do, how much they make. There's always a ceiling, X amount of dollars per hour, X amount of salary per year. And that's what these guys have the opportunity to do, is unlimited earning potential. And that's hand in hand with everything that you just spoke about.
So true.
Yeah. Before I bring in Devon, Leonard, you met him several times. He's the CEO of the company, personal friend of mine, Dean. I'd like to bring him on the call. Dean, are you there, sir?
Yes, sir. Hey, Leonard, how are you?
Hey, Dean, what's going on, buddy?
Just hanging in there, man. Hanging in there. I want to ask you a question on behalf of everybody. I get asked this question so much, and the question is, what type of sacrifices have you made, and what are some important events that you have missed potentially, and what type of information can we give these young entrepreneurs in regards to the word sacrifice? I always get asked, how much sacrifice do I keep away from my family? How much do I balance my personal life? And coming from you, I think they would love to hear that.
Sacrifice. That's a key word that goes hand in hand with success. You can't have sacrifice. You can't have success without sacrifice. And as I mentioned, early on, I made up my mind as a youngster that I wanted to be successful. But with this kind of era and generation where we're at in life, everyone wants. They want to cut corners. And when you're looking to be successful, it's a tremendous sacrifice. And one of the things I learned early on from my mentors is that short-term sacrifice for a long-term reward. And I'm going to say that again, short-term sacrifice for a long-term reward. And me and Floyd, we have operated on that mentality from day one, because we knew if we put in the work now, in long term, we will reap the benefits, because, again, everyone wants the instant success, but they don't want to put in the work. And any time you're looking to be successful with anything, it's going to take a tremendous sacrifice. And I sacrificed so many things, especially, I missed all of my 30s, all of my 40s, so now that he's retired, I'm starting to, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can do things now that I didn't have the opportunity to do. And that's why, and getting back to even with him, is that one of the reasons why he's traveling all around the world, doing all the things that, he's doing, is because he's put in that work over a 20-year period. And he's given everything possibly to the sport, and then when he retired, now he's living his life, living his best life. But when you're looking to achieve success, you're going to have to put in a tremendous amount of sacrifice, and a lot of people don't want to do that.
And
Yeah,
Leonard,
well said. You know, there's a lot of there's this perception that folks have that they see a lot of successful folks come out. And for example, earlier there was an answer that TikTok is one of the most trending social media platforms, but people don't see what happened in the background for TikTok to be in the right position for it to trend as the #1 social media platform. So what folks will start to think is, oh, this is an avenue for me. I think it could be done. So it's interesting because I gave a very similar answer on the word sacrifice as well. But it's so important for this generation to understand that anything worthwhile is going to take time and consistency and effort and passion and focus and motivation, enthusiasm for that perfect recipe. So I appreciate your time, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean.
So Leonard, speaking about Floyd and all of that, at what point can OSP use Air Mayweather? At what point are you?
He said, "What point?"
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
get back to you on that one.
Okay. All right. I'm going to bring in our Director of Business Development, Dustin Woods. Now, he looks like a young man, Leonard, but he's really about 75 years old. And he's got an old soul, so we call him Old Man Woods. Dustin, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, boss. Leonard, it's a pleasure having you on the call. You know, it's funny, like, I think Floyd actually became my favorite fighter to watch when I was a freshman in high school, which Amir did. I was like in the 1950s something, but it was around like year 2000. So I've been watching for quite some time, and like
Wonderful. All right,
Okay.
Devon, can you please re-ask your question?
Yeah, so Leonard, again, my name is Devin Dean. I'm from Black Label Solutions in Dallas. What I was wondering is just, obviously I'll have a fairly large team of fighters. How do y'all determine who gets the attention at different times?
That's a great question. When it comes to the fighters, you want to obviously give them, stay consistently giving them opportunities. But you know, some fighters, they want it more than others, and they show that when they step up in the ring on how they perform. You see a lot of fighters, not a lot. Some of the fighters, they kind of go through the motions, and they don't have as much hunger as other fighters do. So those who a lot more hungrier gonna get more opportunities based upon how bad they want it, and if they showcase it when it comes to their performances when them lights come on, because a lot of fighters they talk a good game, but then when them lights come on, they don't show up.
Yeah. Great question, Devin. Connor Penna, the floor is yours, sir.
Hello, Leonard. Nice to meet you, sir. Thank you so much for hopping on the call with all of us. I hope you're staying safe and healthy out there. But my question, by the way, I'm from Grand Rapids in the Uncommon Consulting Group office. My question, though, is we talk a lot about the winner's mindset. What is the biggest difference that you've seen from successful people to unsuccessful people when it comes to, like, their mindset, at least?
Work ethic. That's what it comes down to, work ethic. Work ethic is everything. Everything tied to with success. It's all about work ethic. When you have that championship mindset, when you refuse to lose, you refuse to be turned away, and you consistently are working at it, but you can't achieve your results if you don't put in the work. Everybody wants to see the end game, but they don't want to put in that work. And you have to put in that work to get to where you're trying to get to in life.
That's everything. Work ethic, that is so important, man. We can't stress that enough. Leonard, sometimes when you hear your parents talk about something they say the same thing over and over and over again, you become immune to it. But when you hear it from somebody else, it's almost like it's brand new. And that's exactly what we stress all the time is just work ethic, just hard, like Floyd said.
And let me kind of touch a little more on that, Amir. When it comes to Mr. Mayweather, he's obviously been the most talented fighter that's been out there over the last 25 years, or arguably ever. But what has separated him from any fighter over the last 24, 25 years is his work ethic. Once he became world champion, his mindset was, we haven't achieved anything yet. It don't stop here. I want to go to heights that to break every record that's out there. And how I'm gonna get to that point is that I'm gonna continue to work and put in that work. We would have fights on say all the fights are on Saturday night. On Monday morning, go to the bank, but he would be back in the gym on Monday. And he would always tell me, we ain't done nothing yet. We won that little fight, as he would always say, we won that little fight. But we gotta stay working. Back at it.
That's actually exactly
the mindset.
100%.
The championship mindset.
That is the winner's mindset. We've done some phenomenal things here, and I'm sure we'll have several more meetings here, Leonard. We've done some phenomenal things here at One Source Provider. And the first thing, when we sit back and we don't applaud ourselves, we take, we're gracious for our victory, but then Dean always says, we're just getting started. Every single time, we're just getting started. And that is exactly
what it comes down.
I love it. Connor, thank you. Noemi, the question is yours.
Hi, Leonard. My name is Noemi. I'm actually a part of the recruiting team. So my question for you is, what do you feel has been the greatest advice that has been given to you and has had the most impact on you and your success?
Good question.
That's a great question. You're gonna have a lot of haters in anything. You know that you have become successful when people are consistently speaking on something you're doing. Success. There's going to be a lot of negativity associated with success. You just have to ignore the haters. You have to just have that tunnel vision and just staying focused. Staying focused is the key. And refusing to be denied, refusing to lose, accepting nothing else other than being on top. And it starts with every day with that winning mindset. Every day you wake up, putting in that work.
Leonard, we've had a lot of these discussions, but I would like to bring it to a forefront, if you don't mind. There's so many people, and you just brought it up, that hate, that try to take away your victories, that don't believe in your vision, and just, the as they're called, the haters that are out there. How do you deal with them? How do you deal with negativity in your life?
You ignore them. You ignore them. The more haters you have, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. But that's part of success, and you're gonna have to accept that. That's why I think one of my greatest strengths is my ability to stay focused. I don't get deterred in any way. I let people say whatever they want to say. I know where I'm going and what I'm doing, and I'm in control of that. I'm in control of my own destiny because I allow myself to get up every day and stay focused and do the things that I need to do. I'm not concerned with others' things. I accept others' opinions and their advice if they're part of my inner circle. But other than that, when the haters are talking,
It's actually the curse of Dustin Woods from the cabin. Every time his question comes up, we seem to lose connection. So let me ask it before we totally lose it forever. He says, what advice could you give about how to build a great business relationship or partnership like you have with Floyd?
Trust. Starts with trust is everything. One thing that he knew early on, we were like-minded because we had a very similar work ethic. And I was always focused on taking care of the business. I never was chasing women, doing all the other things in the clubs and all that. I was always just focused on the task at hand, and that was taking care of Floyd Mayweather's business. And that was one of the things that we early on that we built was a great trust amongst one another. He knew no matter what the case might be that I was going to be focused on taking care of his business. I was not going to be sidetracked. There have been a number of times where people outside of the sport, people inside of the sport have offered me millions of dollars to take meetings, to cross him in any kind of way,
wow.
to go behind his back, to do different things. But we built the trust early on, and that was the connection that we had. And you can't have anything in a relationship without trust, especially when in a business relationship.
Wow. All right, 2 more questions, Leonard, and then we'll let you go. Amy, the floor is yours. Amy Cubis.
Hi, Leonard. This is Amy from the Cleveland office.
What up, Amy?
I just had a really quick question for you. How do you personally keep yourself inspired and motivated?
Staying humble. Staying humble. And I've had that mindset, early on. My parents have taught me that, no matter, what you do in life, just stay humble. Just be humble. Continue to help people, to stay focused. And what's truly inspiring me right now is the helping this younger generation, get to the next level. When you've achieved the level of success that we have, over 24, 25 years from being on top, and with Floyd being the highest paid athlete for a number of years, for him being the number 1 fighter, over the last 25 years. It's about staying humble, and continue to having that work ethic and staying out in front and thinking outside of the box is critical, very, very critical. Thinking outside of the box, outsmarting the competition.
Love it.
Again, like this morning, a great example. At 5 o'clock this morning, Floyd's calling me. We were on the phone for like an hour talking about business. At 5 o'clock in the morning, what is everybody else doing? They're sleeping. And we're working. During this coronavirus, nothing's going on, but he's up. Well, he hadn't been asleep. And he's calling me at 5 this morning. And, we're talking business for like an hour this morning. A great example.
That's awesome.
Don't stop.
It never stops. The grind never stops. Crystal, final question for Mr. Leonard Ellerby.
Hey, Leonard, this is Crystal from Excelsius LLC in Toledo, Ohio. First off, I am a big fan of your work. I'm a huge Floyd Mayweather fan. My brother's probably going to flip that when he finds out he even got to talk to you. So my question to you is this. Starting from, you've had humble beginnings. How have you become so successful from a business perspective, just utilizing social media and all the different aspects? Because for us, we want to become just as successful. So what tips and tricks and things can you tell us and give us? Give me some golden keys so we can actually, do that same thing as far as our business.
Stay away from the negativity. When it comes to social media, you can't, because what social media has given, it's a gift and a curse. It has given a lot of these trolls a platform to say any and do any and everything humanly possible, as I call it, to throw you off your square, throw you off of the direction you're trying to get to. So anything negative, I don't want nothing negative around me. If it's something negative, don't even send it to me. I don't want to read it. I don't want to talk about it, because again, it's all about being positive. Trying to help others along the way and help them to try to get to where they're trying to get to. Because again, I mentor quite a few people, and one of the things they always ask me is that about exactly what your question was. And again, because when you hear negative things, you tend to sometimes absorb it And if you tend to second guess maybe sometimes yourself. So what you do is don't surround yourself with it. Don't have it around you, and just stay as far away from anything negative as possible and stay focused on the task at hand.
Outstanding. Awesome. Leonard, everything that you've said just reiterated exactly why you're in the position that you're in, as successful as you've been, and why everybody around you actually levels up also. You've always come out of your way to help everybody, even this newer generation, on a personal level. Vidal Riley, one fight in, and you saw the potential in him, you signed him, and you're helping him along his career, and it's an opportunity of a lifetime. So that speaks leagues also about everything that you do in helping to give back also. OSP, let's take our mics off. Thank Mr. Ellerby for coming on, Leonard.
I can take two more.
You want to take a few more? Oh, I love it. All right. Listen, that is our top leaderboard. Guys, Steven from Troy. I know he's a big fight fan. Steven, are you there on the call still?
Yeah.
Would you like to ask Mr. Ellerby a question?
Yeah. So, what would be your biggest advice for someone who's been in the game and they need that extra drive? For like leaders, for people in our business, some people get in a rut and they kind of go like what you're talking about. They go into motion. How do you get somebody out of that?
Again, it's about really staying focused. And focus and staying hungry. You know, you lose motivation when you're not hungry. You know, if you have a goal, stick to your goal. Stick to your goal. But you gotta keep chipping away at it. Because nothing's gonna happen overnight. Nothing is gonna happen overnight. And going back to some of the earlier success that we had, it was that we knew, because in boxing, you have a certain network of people, meaning a couple 100,000 people, who can consistently support the sport. So you say, okay, how do you become a major pay-per-view star? Well, only if you're consistently going to get those couple 100,000 people who are going to support your events, who's going to support just boxing as a whole. How do you get to that next level? You have to be creative. And it's what we talked about, is thinking outside of the box, having that championship mindset, that winner's mindset of wanting to do things that are untraditional, thinking outside of the box. What we did was we wanted to be able to cross over into that mainstream world. So one of the first things we did was we got the opportunity to fight Oscar De La Hoya in 2007. We knew that Oscar was the cash cow. He was the man. And the whole objective was just to get him to the ring. Just to get him to the ring, because the fight inside the ring, he knew that what Floyd was going to do, he was going to beat him. And Oscar had that platform. So the whole goal was able to get to that point where we got to that platform, because he had the platform. He was the guy he was one of the most recognizable athletes in the world. And he was an extremely successful fighter who had a great fan base at that particular time. So our whole objective was to get to that level so we could steal those fans, and then we could move forward, with that. And then once we got to that point, had the fight, we beat him. It was just the start. We couldn't relax and think we have accomplished something. We had to stay on the grind. And so what I did was I had to think outside the box. And what is the next move that I could possibly make to, we crossed over in the mainstream world, but that's not enough. You got to keep on pushing that envelope. So what is the next thing that we could do? Okay, well, we had the Ricky Hatton fight in the end of 2007. So I said, what could I possibly do? So I got him on this show called Dancing with the Stars. Dancing with the Stars at that particular time had 24 million viewers a week. And so my whole objective was just to get him in front of those fans. And at that particular time, their base had consisted of middle-aged white women, and mostly in the Midwest areas who actually were watching this show. And we were actually he was on Dancing with the Stars and training at the same time for the Ricky Hatton fight. And he was totally against it. He was like, why you got me doing this? This is crazy. Our focus has got to be on the fights, all this stuff that we're doing outside. I said, look, Floyd, I said, this is going to be something that's different. I said, but just trust me, this is going to work. I said, so I told him, I explained to him, there's 24 million viewers a week, and all we need is to get in front of this fan base and steal these fans in order to go. And so I said, look, each week they have a media row, sort of like, and it was the equivalent of sort of like the Super Bowl. It was so many different media entities that we had access to that you wouldn't normally have access to in the sport of boxing, because with boxing being a niche sport and not a mainstream sport, you don't have the opportunity to be in front of these different media outlets. Like I'm trying to think, it's so many I can't think right off the hand. But just having the ability to be in front of this media row on each and every Thursday, it was like, it was gold, because again, it gave us an opportunity, like Entertainment Tonight as an example. And you would never see a reporter from Entertainment Tonight covering a boxing event. So the whole objective was to be able to get in front of these different media and news outlets to be able to introduce yourself to a whole new base of fans. And so every Thursday night, I'm a little long-winded with this, but this was a great question. Every Thursday, after the show, we would go on to Media Row, and it would be Entertainment Tonight and all these different outlets, and they were getting a chance to know Floyd and be introduced to a whole different set of eyeballs and people who were watching Entertainment Tonight who didn't know anything about boxing. So when they heard the name Floyd Mayweather come up, and then the next week, and he was able to tell his story, they would get a chance to go behind the scenes and see, wow, who is this young man? He's a fighter, blah, blah, blah. And the whole while we lasted, I think it was like almost 8 weeks. Each and every week, we would go in front of these different media outlets, and having this kind of exposure, it was gold, because it had never been done before. So we lasted on the show for 8 weeks, and then we rolled that right into the fight. So now what happened is that the 24 million eyeballs out there, the middle-aged white women, they fell in love with Floyd. They fell in love with him, and they didn't know anything about boxing. So through our great promotions that we have leading up to our event, when it came time for our fight, all those fans, they had heard of the name Mayweather, and the middle-aged white women, they would go to their husband and say, we gotta order Mayweather's fight.
Wow.
He was my favorite dancer.
Wow.
And that's exactly what we did. And then from there, so we got the middle-aged white women, and then my next move was, we got to get the kids. How are we going to do that? WrestleMania.
Wow.
So we got the middle-aged white women, we got the kids, and Floyd being an African-American, we already have all the African-Americans. We have all the Hispanic fans, because, again, we were challenging ourselves against the Hispanic fighters. And, so, again, it's all about thinking outside of the box, how you build your brand and doing something different. And that, when you add in the work ethic, and you got a fighter who's 100% focused and has the best work ethic I've ever seen out of any athlete. And with all that combined, surrounding ourselves with a great team, the rest is history.
Absolutely. And this is when we say winner's mindset. That's what it is. You said thinking outside of the box. Huge. I was always thinking, why the hell would Floyd want to be on Dancing with the Stars? Like, that is so odd.
He didn't want to. Listen, Amir, he He was good. And if you go back and look at the footage, him and Karina, who was, she was his partner. They used to get into it every day at practice. He would just lead the practice. Because, he's used to being in control, controlling his training camp. But this is the first time he was going into something he was totally uncomfortable with because he didn't know how to ballroom dance. And so he had to listen to her because she was his instructor. She was the teacher. She was the best in the business. And those two personalities, they would clash every single day. So he would walk out and I would have to go and get him and I would have to pull her to the side. She's like, I'm not taking his stuff because, he's not my boss. So I had to kind of bridge the gap with those two and, and it really worked. I mean, and one of the other things too that I made some great relationships while we were at Dancing with the Stars. Sure. Because again, my whole focus has always been the business. So every day we would have like a 2-hour lunch before the shows and stuff. So the participants and the people who were with them, you could go anywhere as long as you come back within 2 hours. And so we had trailers. We had every participant had trailers. So guess who was next to our trailer?
Who?
Mark Cuban.
Oh, wow.
So every day, the participants, they would go off. Some people would go to the mall. They would go to a restaurant or whatever. Every day, because we developed a relationship, I asked Mark, I said, do you mind if I come and sit in your trailer? He said, all I'm doing is just making a bunch of calls. I said, I just want to be that fly on the wall. So every day while Floyd was doing whatever he was doing, I would go right next door to Mark's trailer and just sit in there and absorb all the knowledge and information, just listening to calls that he would be on. So Mark is one of my mentors, and we've been very close for a number of years. But that's just another example of having the mindset of still wanting to learn. Being receptive to other people who have had a tremendous amount of success, and staying humble.
That's wow. That is unbelievable. What a backstory.
I know I got a little long.
No, that was awesome, man. Everyone's loving it. Yeah. Listen, I jumped over Taylor Johnson.
Thank you for your time.
Anytime.
Taylor Johnson, sorry I skipped over you. The floor is yours.
My name is Taylor. I'm from Akron with Integrity Marketing Solutions. My question for you, obviously everybody in any walk of life is going to face adversity, but what steps do you take and what mindset do you have when you're in that to bounce back from that?
Is refusing to lose, refusing to be stopped. Again, that's what comes with that championship mindset. It's that, and I want everybody who's on this call to remember one thing, leaving this call, if you don't remember anything. Short-term sacrifice for a long-term reward. Anything you want in life, give it your all. Give it your all. You got to give it your best shot. And when you put in that work and have that work ethic, it's going to work in your favor. Because you're going to have setbacks. There's going to be in anything that you do. But you just have to just stay the course. I mean, we've had several setbacks, but again, having that championship mindset, that winner's mindset of just staying humble, staying focused, and setting short-term goals and obviously long-term goals. Nothing's going to happen overnight. Nothing is going to happen overnight. We came a long way from standing in a crowded dressing room with 4 other fighters to being the highest paid athlete in the entire world, coming from a niche sport. Boxing isn't even a mainstream sport, and what happened was that coming up through the ranks, once we figured it out and became our own bosses, and as I would say, became the banker in the situation. Put ourselves being having our own company and being the banker, and then it was a wrap. It was a wrap after that. That's why there's been so many different athletes from different sports that call me. And this is the same questions that I get from some of the very, very top athletes who call me and ask me, how is Floyd Mayweather making all that money? Because what has happened is that in one night, Floyd has generated more than, say, like a guy like a LeBron James, who has a contract for 5 or 6 years at a couple $100 million, and Floyd's made that in one night.
In a half hour.
And there's been a number of again, top athletes from a variety of different sports have called and said, what is the message to y'all madness on how did you guys put that together? Well, we had a great team. Great team.
Awesome. Man, unbelievable. Thank you, Leonard. Cody, you're up.
Hey, Mr. Elby, thank you so much for your time on behalf of OSP. I know everyone's super grateful, man. This is pretty cool. Just a good question. First off, my name is Cody Weisenberger from Livonia, Michigan, Motown Management. What is the best career decision you've ever made, and conversely, what's the worst decision you've ever made?
Okay, the best decision I ever made was to link up with Floyd Mayweather. The worst decision? I made some bad decisions. But I can't really pinpoint, one. You're going to make mistakes in life. That's part of this life. And it's not about being successful at all. It's life. If you're a human being, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to have pitfalls. You just got to learn from them.
All right. Ernest, you're up. Ernest, you there? All right, we're going to skip Ernest.
I'll go. So,
all right.
What's the way that you like to something to invest in? Do you go for something that you're personally interested in, or do you go for something that's obviously going to be lucrative for you?
Man, you're not Ernest, or is it your turn? But because you're so abrasive, I'm going to go ahead and let you have the question, Christian. Go ahead.
Commercial real estate is
I'll take this.
Commercial real estate is big.
Thank you. That's all I need to know.
All right, I got a quick question for you, Leonard.
Sure. I'm sorry, Will. I had to unmute, man. I got to ask my question. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, bro. You're good.
Go ahead, Will. Will, go ahead.
Go ahead, man. What's up, Will?
All right, what's up, Leonard? Great to have you on the call. Quick question. I just wanted to know, how do you, in our business, we come across where we build, break, and build someone, and to get them to continue keep pushing forward. How do you build, break, and build someone like Floyd Mayweather?
Wow.
Building Floyd Mayweather, again, because early on we were like-minded, and everything's not always been, peaches and cream, as we would say. We've over the years we had several disagreements about things, but it's always been about being respectful, and if we have a disagreement about something, we don't air it in public. It's doing things. He's like, why are we doing that? I have to explain it to him, but it's always about just being on the same page. And our relationship has worked so well because we've had a very similar mindset, and it's just about, staying on that grind, refusing to lose, and not being comfortable. And that's what happens, because you can always grow, continue to grow. Still at this, I'm in my 50s, and I'm still learning. And I still have the same kind of mindset that I did when I was in my 30s. It's about staying on that grind.
All right, Leonard, thank you very much for coming on the call. Everybody, let's give Mr. Ellerby, a big round of applause.
Thank you, Leonard.
One more time.
Come back anytime.
Come back and
Leonard, thank you so much for coming on the call.